When it comes to abuse, people first think of physical abuse and neglect another form of abuse, psychological abuse. In psychology, psychological abuse refers to the use of long-term mental and emotional violence, through humiliation, slander, and other means, to cause serious damage to one's spirit and soul. Do not underestimate the harm of psychological abuse. Although it does not leave physical scars like beatings, it can leave a person's spiritual world scarred. The devastation it causes to a person's spirit is often destructive. It can make a person who was originally physically and mentally healthy despise themselves, abandon the world, and even despair of life without realizing it. 1. Holding negative self-evaluations. The first explanation of self-abuse in the Webster Dictionary is excessive self-criticism. Holding negative self-evaluations can greatly harm mental health and may put you at risk of long-term chronic sadness, increasing the risk of depression. Specifically, there may be some manifestations in life. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, but you tend to see the not good enough side of yourself, such as always staring at your thick thighs, not seeing the beautiful teeth. Attributing failure to the self, I am a bad person, rather than attributing it to specific behaviors, I did something bad, or external factors. Your negative view of yourself is relatively rigid and unchangeable, such as I am just unlucky, or I don't deserve better people. This kind of cognition can easily lead to learned helplessness, that is, accepting one's own powerlessness. 2. Instrumentalization and overuse of oneself, feeling guilty about treating oneself well. This is a more direct but often overlooked form of self-abuse. For example, you often overwork, making an already busy day even busier. You feel guilty when spending money on yourself, but not when spending money on loved ones, not allowing yourself to enjoy leisure. You treat yourself as a tool, care about efficiency, which means you are more likely to use external indicators such as how many goals have been achieved and how much money has been earned as the standard for evaluating yourself. Unless your body breaks down, it is difficult for you to stop. In short, you are good at using and managing yourself, but not very good at being kind to yourself. 3. Allowing oneself to be in a bad intimate relationship and convincing oneself that one cannot leave. Continuously jumping from one abusive relationship to another, choosing unfriendly and negative partners, or even when feeling hurt, still convincing oneself that one cannot leave. Perhaps you think, why am I abusing myself when the bad ones are others? Because we cannot decide how others treat us, but we can choose to be with what kind of people. As the philosopher Sartre said, individual life is made up of one's own choices, and people voluntarily become what they are now. Being aware of being in a bad relationship is a form of self-abuse, which can help us to take responsibility actively. Since it is me who chose to make myself suffer, I can also choose to end it and get rid of the helpless state of being a victim. 4. Refusing, suppressing, or ignoring one's emotions and feelings. I don't know what my feelings are. I feel not very happy, but it doesn't seem to be a big deal. Every time I feel pain, I have to do something quickly to divert my attention. In short, I don't want to face it. I am too negative, I can't let others know. No one will like a person with negative energy. If you have these feelings in life, then you are likely to be engaging in a form of self-abuse, refusing, suppressing, or ignoring your emotions and feelings. This phenomenon is actually very common, and a large part of the reason is related to our social culture, which does not encourage people to express their emotions and feelings. 5. Excessive ambition. In our social context, ambition is a term of praise, and many people will boast about having ambition and even internalize it into the requirements for choosing a partner. For example, many people will complain that their partners are not ambitious enough. Having realistic goals and pursuing them with self-compassion is a healthy pursuit, which means I want to motivate myself to grow, but I am generally satisfied and accepting of myself. Excessive ambition, on the other hand, is because the real me is a bad me, and I cannot accept it, so I want to make it faster, higher, and stronger. If I can't do it, it proves my badness. The fundamental difference between them is the starting point. One comes from loving oneself, and the other comes from hating oneself. Therefore, excessive ambition can easily become self-defeat because it means having unrealistic, or continuous, high expectations for oneself. No matter how much you have done and what you have achieved, you will not feel worthy, and it is difficult to be satisfied with yourself. How to be kind to oneself. The root of self-abuse is often an inner sense of insecurity. We may have experienced some trauma and think it's our own fault. So we are used to treating ourselves in an unfriendly way, lacking in self-compassion. Therefore, we need to cultivate a loving relationship with ourselves. We can start by practicing self-compassion. Psychologist Kristin Neff specializes in self-compassion and has proposed 3 main ways: being kind to oneself, common humanity, and mindfulness. Being kind to oneself means understanding and warming ourselves when we fail or make mistakes, just as we would treat someone we love. Common humanity is recognizing that pain and setbacks are a normal part of life that everyone will encounter. I am nothing special, so I don't need special blame. The element of mindfulness includes observing our emotions and thoughts in a non-judgmental way. Just observe, draw no conclusions, and do not identify.